Derik Queen, the last one that I'll talk nice about, he's not necessarily on the overrated, underrated list. Now, the success of Alfred Sengun making his first All-Star team and the success that he had against Draymond Green in the playoffs, I think is very important for Queens' projection as an NBA prospect. Big time productivity as a freshman, again, a freshman in major college basketball, very similar to Casper's. First team All Big Ten. Again, as a freshman, we saw the game winner that he had in the NCAA, but also the way they, again, in a similar way to Casper's, he showed up the majority of the offensive load for this Maryland team throughout the year. So you look at his game, and you talk about competition that he's faced before. It's not at the Casper's level to where he's a lot of international competition, but you're not going to get better preps high school competition than what Mount Verde faced. So a lot of people are going to look at him and like, okay, low post score, not a lot of diversity to his game. I would disagree. Now, I don't want to stray too close to the Jokic or Sengun comparisons because he's not those guys yet. But he's not just a low post guy. He has elite touch, I think, in the mid-post, mid-range areas going out to 15, 18 feet. We saw him knock down some threes, but that's not his game. But he has really good touch all the way out to there. And this is a guy that, he can catch at 18, 20 feet away and back down and maneuver his ways into the spot. Into his spots. So it's not a guy that you're going to have to just, do some cross screens and put him on a block and get him the ball or he won't be effective. Now, I will say, again, he's not Sengun or Jokic, but something I think that he favors them, his passing ability. Maryland was a good team. I think they had 5 guys average over 10 points a game, but there wasn't a lot of self-creators on that offense. So Derik Queen was oftentimes the guy that created opportunities for others. Almost 2 assists a game last year. And I think there's a higher ceiling for him to operate as a hub. Not quite as the way as Sengun operates because Murray is basically just an on-ball 2-guard. But you could throw it to him in the high post and allow him to find cutters, find shooters, diagnose defenses and identify openings in that way. If you are a team who's quote-unquote point guard, the shortest guy on the floor, like to score more than like to pass, Derik Queen can fit into that role right there and be a distribution hub in a way that I think people may not expect. Also, we know, again, low post score, it is a fact that he's not a great athlete, not a great rim protector, but really good finisher around the rim. 67% field goal percentage at the rim, 1.34 points per possession at the rim. That's really good. And 60% on layups. So even though he doesn't have elite vertical burst, he'd still find his way to finish at the rim really well, which as a Memphis Grizzlies fan, I saw a guy that was almost 8 feet tall, 7.5 feet tall, Zach Edey, struggle to finish at the rim all year long. So it's not a given that tall guys, or even athletic guys, are great finishers. So it's nice to see Derik Queen going the opposite way. Well, yeah, I'm not a great athlete, but I have the touch to finish at the rim. Now, unless you've been under a rock, you've been seeing the NBA playoffs. If you watch this, and you've been seeing the impact specifically that Mitchell Robinson has had on the offensive glass. Derik Queen brings a similar dynamic ability to collect offensive boards. Averaged almost 2.5 offensive boards a game. That's a lot. But also, again, just his touch, but more so basketball IQ. He has, what it looks like to me, an innate ability to read where the ball is going off the rim, off a miss. I've seen it to where we had to get to the Mitchell Robinson level where guys were face guarding him to protect the defensive glass, and he still secures offensive boards. So again, you just look at his game, you see low post scorer, but as I'm stacking his case, there are a lot of different ways that I see him contributing outside of just throwing it to him on the block and hoping that he scores. Even in the pick and roll, and we know how dominant the pick and roll is in today's NBA. It's the reason why I'm high on Casper's as a guy that can operate the pick and roll, and I'm gonna do the same with with DQ. Despite not being a super pop threat, you don't want him shooting threes right now, but he has shown a lot of nuance. Him and Gillespie showed a lot of nuance in the pick and roll in Maryland. So screen, rescreen. He's not a great screener, but he knows how to use his body. In the short roll, he's really dangerous. Whether it's popping for one of these little mid-ranges, whether it's an actual jumper, a floater, or finding a cutters, he's a guy that, without the efficient ability to shoot or the ability to be an above-the-rim finisher, he has just, again, crafted his niche in terms of his ability to be effective in the short roll, pick-and-roll situations. Last thing for me on DQ, of course, again, we know he's not an elite rim protector. Guess who isn't, though? Also isn't. Nikola Jokic, the owner of 2 out of the last 4 MVPs, shout out Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, very, very, very good hands On defense, Derik Queen has probably the best hands in the draft, but defensively, you see him using. He averaged over a steal and over a block a game at Maryland. And again, he's not Jokic, but he has a similarly defensive impact as Jokic. As like, hey, I might not offer a lot of protection at the rim, but in terms of getting my hands in passing lanes or being a guy that guards just can't blow right by without they can't just play with the ball on a switch. He has that. So yeah, Derik Queen, I think Sengun's performance in the playoffs bodes very well in terms of a positive impact to his stock. But also, I just think this is a guy that's too big, too skilled, too talented, has too much of a high basketball IQ to go outside of even a top 10 in this draft and for people to feel comfortable about passing on him. But no, Derik Queen is a guy that, out of the guys in this draft class that people consistently say is top heavy, he has all-star potential. And it really comes down to the team he's drafted by, how they use to deploy him, and how much they try to stay close to this base in terms of the strengths of his as a prospect versus how much they try to alter his game and his play style to their system.